Your life as a luxury real estate broker. You enter the market when interest rates are still low enough to create optimism. You tell yourself it is about homes, architecture, sunlight, space. But the first thing you learn is that it is about proximity to money. You do not sell houses. You manage access to people who can afford them. The brokerage office is quiet. Glass walls, neutral tones, a skyline view. Everyone speaks softly. No one rushes. You are told that urgency is for retail agents. You are not retail. You are entering the upper tier. There is no formal rank structure, no badges, no stripes. But there are levels, and you will feel them immediately. Level 1 visibility. You begin as a junior associate. Your job is to observe. You attend showings for properties you cannot afford to stand inside. You carried brochures. You memorize square footage. You learn which neighborhoods appreciate quietly and which ones inflate publicly. You watch senior brokers perform restraint. They do not sell aggressively. They withhold information carefully. They make silence feel expensive. The invisible rule is simple. Your value equals the quality of your clients. Not your work ethic. Not your intelligence. Your clients. If you bring someone wealthy into the system, you rise. If you bring someone who stretches to qualify, you remain where you are. You begin to understand that reputation in this industry does not flow downward from performance. It flows sideways from association. You must be seen near the right buyers. So you attend events you do not enjoy. Gallery openings, charity dinners, private school fundraisers. You speak carefully. You never mention commission percentages. You never appear eager. Because eagerness signals need, and need lowers price. Level 2 access. You secure your first serious client. A business owner relocating from another state. Net worth high enough to matter, not high enough to ignore. You drive them through gated communities. You begin to learn the second rule. Luxury buyers do not purchase homes. They purchase insulation. From neighbors. From noise. From uncertainty. They are not buying marble countertops. They are buying distance from unpredictability. Your role shifts. You are no longer selling square footage. You are filtering risk. You warn them subtly about streets that appear affluent but are trending downward. You mention school district boundaries, tax structures, future zoning proposals. You speak in controlled hypotheticals. Because at this level, mistakes are expensive, but lawsuits are more expensive. You are careful, and you begin to earn. The commissions are larger now. A single transaction equals months of your previous salary. You feel leverage building. You tell yourself you are closer to freedom. But the invisible constraint tightens. Your lifestyle adjusts. You upgrade your wardrobe, your car, your address. Not because you want to. Because clients expect visual alignment. If you sell $8 million homes, you cannot arrive in something modest. They will question your network. Your income rises. Your expenses rise with it. You are building an image that must be maintained. Level 3 network dependence. Now you have repeat clients. A developer calls you directly. An executive refers a colleague. A trust attorney invites you to lunch. You are no longer chasing transactions. You are maintaining relationships. And relationships in this tier are delicate. You cannot speak casually about one client to another. You cannot appear loyal to only one builder. You cannot refuse invitations too often. Your calendar fills with events that are not optional. The third rule becomes clear. Information is currency, but disclosure is liability. You know which hedge fund manager is divorcing, which chief executive officer is quietly selling before a public announcement, which family is over-leveraged but presenting wealth. You must know these things. You must never repeat them. Your advantage is awareness. Your risk is exposure. The market shifts. Interest rates climb. Suddenly listings sit longer. Buyers hesitate. Sellers become anxious. You are blamed for neither, but you are responsible for both. Luxury real estate does not collapse loudly. It slows quietly. Fewer showings, longer negotiations, reduced offers framed as market corrections. You feel pressure to protect prices because your reputation is tied to outcomes. If your listings close below expectations too often, your perceived influence declines. And influence, not sales volume, is your real asset. Level 4 Illusion of Control. You reach what appears to be the peak. You control inventory in a prestigious neighborhood. Developers consult you before breaking ground. Wealth managers introduce you as their person. Your name circulates without you present. You believe you have leverage. You can choose clients. You can decline unrealistic sellers. You can prioritize higher margins. You feel insulated. Then the first major test arrives. A high-profile client lists a property significantly above market value. They insist on a price that flatters their ego. You advise against it. They insist. If you refuse, they will list with someone else. If you accept, you risk a prolonged listing that signals weakness. You choose to accept, because access to that client matters more than the short-term optics. The home sits. Whispers begin. Other brokers ask why it has not sold. Potential buyers assume something is wrong. The market does not punish loudly. It erodes slowly. You learn the fourth rule. In luxury real estate, perception sets reality. The house eventually sells. Below the original ask. The client publicly frames it as strategic timing. Privately, they remember that you did not protect their number. They reduce referrals. Nothing dramatic happens. Just fewer calls. Your position shifts slightly downward. Not visibly, but structurally. Level 5 money becomes insulation. You accumulate savings, investments, perhaps a rental property. You are no longer financially fragile. You have built insulation, but insulation has its own cost. You now depend on continuity, market stability, regulatory consistency, predictable tax structures. When city councils propose zoning changes, you pay attention. When state policies affect property taxes, you adjust your messaging. You cannot publicly oppose anything. You cannot publicly support anything strongly. Neutrality becomes part of your brand. Your freedom of opinion narrows. Because high net worth clients do not hire volatility. They hire predictability. You become predictable. Your language becomes measured. Your social media becomes controlled. You post listings, charity photos, market updates. Never opinions. Never controversy. The higher you rise, the less of yourself remains visible. Level 6, the trade-off. You notice something subtle. At lower levels, you chased opportunity. At higher levels, you protect position. You once drove aggressively across the city for any showing. Now, you calculate whether a client aligns with your long-term network. You decline certain buyers. Not because they lack funds, but because they lack trajectory. Luxury real estate is not about present wealth alone. It is about future wealth. You invest your time where expansion is likely. You begin filtering people the way neighborhoods filter residents. Quietly. Systematically. You rationalize it as efficiency. But it is selection. You are no longer just operating inside hierarchy. You are enforcing it. Level 7, the market correction. A downturn arrives. Not catastrophic, but sustained. Luxury properties take months to sell. Developers delay projects. Commissions shrink. You have reserves. You are not desperate. but your fixed costs remain high. Brand maintenance, office dues, marketing budgets. Your peers react differently. Some lower fees. Some pivot to mid-tier properties. Some exit. You do not panic. You reduce visible inventory. Focus on fewer higher quality listings. Protect your positioning. But you feel something else. Dependence. On interest rates. On global capital flows. On stock market performance. On tax policy. You realize your autonomy is thinner than you believed. You are not selling homes. You are converting macroeconomic conditions into personal income. And you do not control macroeconomics. The illusion fades slightly. Level 8, the quiet ceiling. You attempt to expand. Perhaps into development partnerships. Perhaps into a brokerage leadership role. You discover another boundary. True power in this ecosystem belongs to those who control land at scale. Developers. Investment funds. Family offices. They do not depend on commissions. They depend on appreciation. You are adjacent to them. You advise them. You market their product. But you do not own the pipeline. To enter that tire requires capital concentration beyond commissions. And capital concentration requires risk exposure that may undo everything you built. You hesitate. You calculate. You remain where you are. Comfortable. Respected. Limited. Level 9, the realization. At the beginning, you believed luxury real estate was about lifestyle. Now you understand it is about filtration. Neighborhoods filter income. Gated communities filter access. Brokerages filter reputation. Clients filter brokers. Every layer removes unpredictability. And every removal reduces freedom. You cannot speak freely. You cannot dress carelessly. You cannot associate randomly. Your phone is your lifeline. And your leash. If it stops ringing, the insulation cracks. So you maintain the system. You attend the events. You maintain the image. You protect the perception. You tell new agents that consistency matters. You tell them patience matters. You do not tell them that alignment matters more than skill, because they would have to discover that themselves. Level 10, the reset. A new associate joins your office. Ambitious, polished, observing you the way you once observed someone else. They ask how to succeed in luxury. You give them safe answers. Market knowledge, responsiveness, professionalism. You do not explain the unspoken hierarchy. They will learn it. They will attend their first showing in a home worth more than their entire net worth. They will feel the distance between money and access. They will start upgrading their image. They will begin filtering their relationships. They will rise. And eventually, they will feel the same ceiling. Because the system does not break you. It selects you. For composure. For restraint. For alignment. And once selected, it contains you. Somewhere tonight, someone is browsing listings far above their budget. Imagining space. Privacy. Control. Soon, they will meet a broker. You. You will guide them through gates. Through manicured streets. Through polished entryways. And you will speak softly about value retention. They will believe they are buying freedom. You will know they are buying insulation. And insulation always comes with structure. You entered this industry to sell homes. You stayed because you learned how hierarchy converts into income. Now you manage access. Carefully. Quietly. And somewhere, just outside the gate, another agent is trying to get in. Subscribe if you want to understand how systems actually work.